Hi, Adrian at the Code Loft here. Last tutorial we pulled in our quiz topics from a Google Sheet and updated the app dynamically. This time, we're going one step further, loading the quiz questions themselves from the same Google Sheet. That means no hard coding and full flexibility to update your quiz anytime. Let's dive in. We'll set up two sheets in the same Google Sheets document. The first sheet is still called Quiz Type. In this sheet, we'll add a new column called Question Rows. This will contain a pipe-separated list of row numbers, for example, 1, 2, 3, which tells the app which rows from the second sheet to use for this quiz. Create a second sheet and name it Quiz Questions. In this sheet, we'll list out all our questions and answers. Each row will contain one complete question. Make sure your first row has headers that match how we set up the quiz object previously. Question. Option A, Option B, Option C, Option D, correct answer, and image. You'll notice that in Google Sheets, the first row under your header is labeled Row 2. But in Thunkable, when we access data using blocks like getRow, the header row isn't counted. That means what Google Sheets calls Row 2, Thunkable refers to as Row 1. So when I added my pipe-separated list of row numbers earlier, starting at 1, that's why. It lines up with how Thunkable sees the data, starting just below the headers. Now go ahead and populate your questions sheet with all the quiz questions you'll need for your app. Each row will represent a single question, and later on, we'll pull these in dynamically using the row numbers from your topic sheet. If you're not sure how to add a link for your image questions, make sure to check out the previous tutorial. I'll leave the link below. Once this is done, head over to your blocks in Thunkable. Last time, we left it so that when the user chose their topic, we stored it in a variable and navigated to the question page. We'll now use that variable to help us load in the right questions dynamically from our spreadsheet. Before we dive into the blocks, let's first make sure our data is synced. Head over to your Design tab in Thunkable, then Data Sources, and click the Sync with Source icon next to your Google Sheet. This ensures that any recent changes you've made, like new questions or topics, are loaded into your app. Find the variable where we previously stored our list of questions, and change it to just an empty list. This gives us a clean slate to work with. Then, create a brand new function and call it Setup Questions. This is where we'll load and prepare our quiz data. Next, go to your Screen Opens block and call the Setup Questions function as the very first action. This way, your app knows to run this setup process as soon as the screen loads. Let's create a new variable called Selected Quiz Object and set it to null. Go to the Data Sources drawer and drag out the block that says Get First Row Object From. This block lets us search for a specific row based on a matching value. Inside our Setup Questions function, add a set variable block for our new quiz object variable, and attach the data block. Now connect your selected quiz variable to the part that says where key equals. This tells Thunkable to search for the row in your quiz topic sheet where the topic matches what the user selected. Make sure the data source is set to your quiz topic sheet. That's where our question row numbers are stored. This block will return the full row object for the selected quiz topic. Next, we're going to loop through each row number in the list of questions. Start by dragging in A for each item, J in list block, from the control drawer. This will be our loop for going through each question row. Now let's build the list it will loop through. From the list drawer, grab a make list from text block. Inside that, we'll split the pipe-separated string of question rows. To get that string, go to the object drawer and pull out a get property of object block. Set the property name to match your column header in the Google Sheet, for example, quiz rows or question rows. Then set the object to selected quiz object, which is the row we got earlier. Finally, in the make list from text block, set the delimiter to the pipe character. This will split the string into a list of row numbers for us to loop through. Now all we need to do is add each question object back into our question list, just like we did previously. The difference this time is that instead of using hard-coded values, we'll be pulling the question data dynamically from our Google Sheet. For each row number in our loop, we'll fetch that specific row from the question sheet and then extract the properties we need, like the question text, the options, and the correct answer, and add that as an object to our question list. If you keep all the field names the same in the question objects you're creating, just like we did previously, then everything else, like quiz scoring and navigation logic, will continue to work without any changes. When using the getValue block, remember to change the sheet we're looking at to the question sheet. For the row ID, use a getJ block, as this holds the different row ID numbers as we loop through them. That means the only thing left to do now is to test it. You can now add as many topics as you want and make your quizzes as long as you like, just by updating the subjects, row numbers, and questions in your Google Sheet. Once you've deployed your app, users will always get the latest questions without needing to update anything in the app itself. The next steps could be to hide the answer buttons until your questions have fully loaded, or even add a loading icon for a smoother experience. Thanks for following along. See you next time at the Code Loft.